Welcome to On Second Thought. I'm John Price, and I'm here with our pastor, Jay Hackett, where every week we take a deeper dive into life at Peachtree Corners Baptist Church. Whether we're talking about the latest sermon, upcoming events, or just whatever's on Jay's mind, this is your insider look at our church, our staff, and what makes PCBC your church on the corner. So join our conversation as we help you find community, purpose, and growth. Let's get into it. Hello and welcome to On Second Thought. This is episode 52, and we thought we would switch it up a little bit and switch seats. I hope that's not too confusing or off-putting for you throughout our episode. But
I like it. So I'll be the host, and you answer all of the questions based on the service yesterday and vision of where things are and how things are going.
You can't do it based on the sermon because I wasn't in there.
You weren't in the room. Exactly.
Yeah, no.
Which is why I think this will be a whole lot of fun.
I'll just make stuff up.
Yeah.
It was our
in second Tobit yesterday. What did you feel about his second point?
Yeah. It was the senior graduation recognition. And
so you had a busy morning.
Yeah. So we, the kitchen team, there were 4 of us. We did breakfast for the senior grads and their families. So about, I think maybe 85, 90 people. So we got here around 6:15 or so and made them a nice breakfast. And then,
you did. I mean, good grief. I went over there and I was like, I was expecting some yogurt, little fruit, maybe a waffle on the side. You guys had all of that. And
all the things. Yeah.
You've never done anything halfway in your life, have you?
And it can be a problem.
Yeah, I can imagine.
There's medication for that. But
it's like, what we could do is we could do bacon and sausage. We could do biscuits. We could do.
Now, actually, because we were going to do waffles, we ended up not doing waffles. But when Logan and Grady and I were talking, and they kind of told me what they wanted, and I was like, well, look, we also have, we have the sausage gravy, we have hash brown patty, stuff that we had from our Wednesday night stuff that was either in the freezer or were in cans, and will last through the nuclear Holocaust. And so I said, look, we can do that and as well. And they said, well, just don't do waffles. And even though I was like, don't do waffles, it would have been too much.
Yeah.
In fact, sometimes I use Claude to recommend serving sizes and amounts. And I always have to pare it down because it's like there's no way it's not like everybody's going to eat a portion size of everything that we offer. So it went really well, and we have leftovers for the staff or whatever they want to use it. But it was good, and I had 3 ladies helping out, and because of the new equipment that we have, made it so easy to push that stuff down there. So nice. But I was like, look, you guys just push the stuff back. I'll clean so you guys can go in the service. And so I've heard nothing but good stuff. Good stuff, but I didn't get to be in there.
It was great to see. Logan and Sarah have really been pushing, going, hey, we'd love to get our students up on stage. We'd love to get them leading on a senior Sunday. And, I've been a little hesitant. I'm like, okay, we've got a standard, if you will, of, what we want to see happen on a Sunday morning.
Well, our standard is we want to do our best. I think it's more about expectations.
It is.
In this
of what people are used to seeing and what they expect to see. Yeah. And so, this year, when Logan and Sarah met with Jacob and I, we were like, let's do it. Let's put it out there and let's see how it goes. But I'm telling you, our students did fantastic. And Lily and Lacey and Catherine Beck, they were all leading out, and they all got solos and awesome. Did some different things. And then, of course, Sarah, who we know has a beautiful voice.
Absolutely,
and they had a little choir of some other students in the back, and then we had students playing the drums, playing guitar. And the cool thing was all the ones on stage that weren't part of the choir were seniors. And so it was allowing them the opportunity to serve. And
so next year is going to be a building year?
Next year's a building year. No, they've got, that's the thing that I'm loving is between Sarah and Prince, they're building depth inside of our student ministry and really making it something that the students own and they love. And we got to see a glimpse of that yesterday, which was just special to me in so many different ways. And then Logan got up yesterday and went to Psalm 23, and he was just, he's talking to our students about you kind of got a fresh start, right? The past of who you've been or what you've been known for, whether that's good or bad, is now in the past. Yeah. And so you have a rebranding, if you will. And so, the key is not to know exactly what the future holds. The key is to know the shepherd who holds that future.
Right.
And recognition of the fact that he is the one that provides, right? He's the one that protects, and that his presence is the very thing that every one of us need. And, it was great not only for our seniors, but I think it was great for everybody in the room because he did a really good job of just kind of laying it out there. And one of the things that he said that just resonated so well with me, he said, you get to the end of Psalm 23 and it says, you prepare a table for me in the midst of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil and my cup overflows. And he brought out the fact that he said, one of the things that happens is when you have guests over, he said, one of the ways that you kind of can tell them it's probably time for you to go home is you quit filling the cup. You know what I'm saying? And so it's kind of one of those scenarios of going, okay, well, we've drunk everything here, so thanks for coming. You know, but he goes, and it wasn't rude, but it was just a way of kind of saying our night's come to an end.
Yeah.
But he says the way that God describes this, I mean, he's talking about his presence and wanting to be in your presence, is David goes, my cup's overflowing because God's going, I don't want you to leave. I just want you to sit with me.
No, that's great.
And, so many times we think God's more happy with all the things we do for him. And I think God's not as happy for the things that we do for him as the time that we spend with him.
Yeah.
And just that thought of God's going, man, I'm going to keep filling up your cup as long as you're willing to stay,
Well, and we can't do anything for him with any impact and significance unless we are with him.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
It's in his power. And quickly, when we're doing for him without being with him, it can become about us.
Oh, yeah.
Our preferences, our agenda, our kingdom. Yeah. No,
yeah.
That's
it was very convicting, but also encouraging. And that's the best way I could put it. I was like, man, that is so good. And the fact that God's going, hey, man, just come hang. Man, let's sit. And when you're with good friends, that really makes a difference. I remember this past Thursday, one of the guys in my discipleship group had his kidney removed. And so I went out to the hospital to spend a little time with him. And typically, as a pastor, and David Shaw and I talk about this all the time, and we share it with our deacons, we share it with our elders. Most of the time when you go into a hospital room, quick, simple, people are not wanting you to overstay your welcome.
Right.
And typically we get in there and we run out of things to say. So we go, 3 of my friends died from this, those kind of awkward moments of,
right.
And so we go, hey, 10 to 15 minutes, read some scripture, pray with them, get out the door.
Yeah.
And so I went in to see Jim and was just hanging there, and I was kind of watching my watch and going, okay, I want to be mindful. I want to be, and I looked at Jim. Jim goes, are you trying to be mindful of time, or do you have somewhere to be? And I said, dude, I'm just trying to be mindful of your time.
Yeah.
I said, my day right now is wide open. I'm here for what you need. He goes, then stay. He said, dude, your family.
Yeah.
And I was there for 2 hours, on Thursday. But it was just one of those moments of kind of going, I didn't feel rushed. He just took everything away. And, that's the beauty of communion with one another, friendship, and God's going, man, listen, I'm going to keep pouring, and man, I just don't want you to leave. And so I thought that was a beautiful picture of us staying close to the shepherd and what that truly looks like. And then got to the end of the service, and the cool thing was Logan's been here 4 years now. Okay, and so year one he had 3 seniors. And this year we had 16 seniors,
Yeah.
and you've been in youth ministry. I mean, you understand it's how do we build longevity?
Right.
Because seniors, man, so many things come up between their freshman and senior year,
Yeah.
and they drop like flies. And so how do you build sustainability that you can actually build some leaders in there that you can pour into? And Logan and Sarah and Grady, now since joining the team, have done a fantastic job of, sharing their testimonies and getting them into places of leadership. And so it was just really special to see them walk across the stage. And man, we got some brilliant kids. They're all captains and summa cum whatever. And I mean, just the most brilliant people on the planet. They were all going to Georgia Tech or, Georgia, Reinhardt. They're going all over the place. Oglethorpe, playing sports at another level. They're leading at different levels. And I'm just like, man, this is really cool to kind of watch that. So I thought all in all, I got a couple of texts this morning just from some of our senior adults, and they were like, man, what a blessing that yesterday was. And, and I know sometimes preference can kind of play into some things, but I think when current generation and even, how do you refer to, is it past? It's not past generations. They're still alive, but it's just seasoned generations, when they see the future and they see what these students are doing and they see them loving Jesus and wanting to follow after him, I think there's just an encouragement. And that's one of the greatest joys of having a multi-generational church, as we talk about all the time. It's like, man, this is exciting, because we always hear the negative of what's wrong with, these Gen Xers and what's wrong with the next, what's the new?
I'm Gen X.
You are Gen X.
And there's plenty wrong
There's
with
a
me.
lot wrong with the millennial or what's the latest? It's the.
Well, there's Gen Y, there's millennials, but then, Gen Z, Gen Y. I don't know what the
Gen
youngest
X,
one coming up.
A.
Is it Gen Alpha?
Gen
Okay.
Alpha.
Yeah.
Good grief, man. Yeah, I don't know any of this stuff. But it was just neat to see them lead out yesterday and know that, hey, as you're taking these next steps, you're not walking away from Jesus.
Yeah.
You really aren't. And you're not walking away from his church. And just praying for them to have great opportunities to let their light shine wherever God takes them.
Well, and such an important message for those students, not just as an exit, but they're entering, and a lot of times if they're entering into like university or something like that, our culture has kind of said, hey, this is kind of 4, 5, whatever, however many years free of experimenting. Yeah, it's just like consequence free. And that couldn't be further from the truth.
No.
And so I think they have done a great job of just reminding them that everyday decisions move us toward or away from who God designed us to be.
That's right.
And who we want to be. And so, man, I tell you, the university system has drifted a little bit from just educating our students.
Yeah.
And so, our prayers are with them, and it's great that Logan and Sarah and now Grady have poured into them. Last year's theme was fruit.
Yep.
And what, the church celebrated yesterday was the fruit of 100%. Their efforts, the fruit of the, the way that God is working in these students' lives. And I look forward to seeing and hearing more.
And then we prayed over the group that's heading out to Costa Rica. They don't leave until a week from Sunday. But with this coming Sunday being Memorial Day, we were like, hey, they're all here because a lot of them are traveling next weekend. And I said, hey, if we can get all of them here, let's pray over them and be a part of that. And so 16 of them that are heading to Costa Rica and to kick off their summer serving and loving on kids and, churches down there and helping get plugged in. We did that trip, 2-3 years ago now. Golly, man, it's been crazy to think about how long it was, but
probably 2
years ago.
Yeah.
And so it'll be just exciting for them to work with Greg Smith and get down there and just see some great opportunities to serve and just want God to just continue to blow them away with how good he is and reveal himself to him. And then we prayed over Riley Jones, who is heading out to Every Heart tours. She did this last summer, but this summer she's heading up to the North Pacific. And so she's going to Oregon, Washington, and Canada this summer to take the gospel. And so they'll do some fun stuff with, music and street evangelism and just, connecting with people up there. And so just seeing her passion as she comes back and her boldness from last summer was fantastic.
Yeah.
And so know that God's going to use that in a powerful way as well.
Yeah. And then she goes to Shades Mountain.
She goes to Shades Mountain.
Yeah. Afterwards to work on staff there or intern or I can't remember.
Not sure which one it is, but
that's cool.
One of those two, which I think will be
Birmingham area. I love Birmingham.
Yeah.
Well, I went to Sanford as well. And so, good.
Yeah. So all in all, it was a great Sunday.
Had a Discover class.
Yeah. We had 7 of us that were in there this week. And, it's just exciting to see the different people that God continues to send to us and in families. And, we talked before about, the target audience is a 37-year-old married with kids. And we're just seeing us hit that target. It's so exciting to me of going, all right, it's working. And then just hearing all the kids' stories, hey, you do a great job on our kids. And I'm like, yeah, we kind of set you up for that, which is why we do what we do.
Yeah.
So that your kids love it and then you're forced to come.
Right.
And I said, we make no apology about that. That is our goal is we get your kids to fall in love with this place. And then you go, well, I guess we'll go too, kind of a thing. But then they get involved and get connected and they're like, man, this is awesome. Yeah. And, the overarching theme yesterday again was community. And so,
absolutely,
and we were even talking about
as far as the people saying, here's why we're here.
Here's why we're here. We want to do life.
And even one guy saying, we're actually active members at another church and we love it, but it's such a far drive. It's such a long drive.
Yeah. And that's, it's like 30 to 40 minutes. And, he said, which is fine on a Sunday, which it is. Yeah. We pretty much go anywhere on a Sunday and get there in less than an hour.
Yeah.
Not anywhere, but you know what I'm saying.
Right.
But he's like, how active? We can't be as active during the week. And that's really where the life change happens is through that community, through grabbing dinner with another couple, one night of the week or kind of seeing what's happening. So, I really enjoyed getting to know him. Trying to reach out to him this week because I told him, I said, hey, man, I'd love to go grab dinner and just talk with you and your wife. And answer anything that we can do, how we can help serve and be here for your family. And, just a great joy to be able to do that.
Yeah. And one of the things that we've started doing, which I think, in the process is kind of keeping that momentum rolling by saying, today we've had the Discover class where you find out a little bit about us. If you're interested in joining, next Sunday, we're going to have the membership conversations. Yep. And usually we just kind of put that out there and it just kind of hangs in the air and we just don't know. But yesterday I had several leave and say, I'll see you next week. So I said, okay, great. Fantastic.
All right. Next step.
Yeah.
Well, there were so many people falling through the cracks that it was just like, hey, have you heard back from, or did we talk to? And, and it was like, all right, how do we shore this up? Mm-hmm. And you had that idea of going, why don't we just come the next week, have the conversation, and then even the next week, if there needs to be a baptism or,
just kind of build that protocol. So, because, you don't always remember, like you said, when it's kind of open-ended, it's easy to forget, get lost with all the things that we have going on. Yeah.
Well, it is. It's like, hey, you know what we need to do? We need to grab dinner.
Right.
And then 6 months later, hey, when are we going to grab dinner? And it's like, we need to do that, you know. And it's like, if you don't put a date down, it ain't happening.
Yeah.
And, and that's just life and part of it. And so we're just continuing to look for ways to get people connected and to take those next steps. And, I love how we've done disco over these last, couple of months and a couple of years. Just fun to hear people's story, to hear what God's doing in their life, to hear what brought them to Peachtree Corners. And to see how can we serve you, in the days ahead.
Yeah.
And we're getting unchurched people. We're getting, de-churched people. We're getting re-churched people, I guess you could say. But it's just it's neat to see how God continues to open doors, and just praying that we'll be obedient and continue to say yes and follow where He's leading.
Yeah, so, it's a great season.
It really is.
Yeah,
it really is. Man, summer's here.
Yeah,
you believe that? School's out like Wednesday, and here in Gwinnett, and so maybe Thursday for some, but I'm not sure. I know Todd's got all kinds of fun graduations happening this week, and with Cornerstone and Providence.
It's one of your busy times.
It's the busy season again.
Yeah.
I would love to know what month is not the busy season for Todd, because it turns out that every month now becomes a busy season.
Yeah, but as far as like
But May, everything, preschool.
Stuff in the sanctuary.
100%. 100%. And so a lot of stuff happening this Sunday. We'll wrap up our Unshakable series this week, talking about how to build that unshakable confidence, not in who you are, but in who Christ is.
Yeah.
And we also have our ice cream truck that'll be here this Sunday,
nice,
which is always fun to kind of kick off summer. So after Life Group Hour, come on out under the
portico.
There's so many words for that thing. Most of them are good, but go out there, grab some ice cream, chill, hang out with some people, and kick off summer for those that are here. And then following that, we'll jump into a fun series through the book of Colossians this summer. And so all of us will be tag teaming on that. And so really excited. So in town, in church, as we say around here. And so hopefully we'll continue to see just great things happening this summer. And though it's going to be crazy, and, we as a staff are pulled in 9 different directions, but we'll see each other the week of EBS, and then we won't see each other again until August. But it'll be fun.
Yeah, there's I think there's usually about a month or so where we don't have staff meeting. Is that right?
Yeah.
Just because
everybody's
on the 4 corners. Yeah.
So we do everything leading up to June, and then it's like, all right, we'll touch base again in July.
And then it's a scramble.
Then it's a scramble to get ready for the fall and go, okay, how are we doing?
Right.
Hey, we kicked off a new class yesterday with the young adults.
Yes.
Yeah. How'd that go?
It went really well. They said they had 10.
Okay.
And it went well. So they are in one of the little satellite rooms outside of C Assembly. So sound is an issue through those walls, and you helped me get some acoustical stuff up on the walls. No, you absolutely. Good
I'm more there just for comedic relief.
No, and to reach the really tall stuff.
And to reach the tall stuff. Destruction's more my thing. So when we're actually constructing something,
and we used the table saw, and you kept
I'm still good, man.
Both your thumbs.
What's left of the one is still there, and so we're fine.
But I heard good reports, and that's kind of a project we're still working on a little bit, but. No, they're excited, and we're excited to be able to offer that class at least seasonally to a demographic that we don't have a ton of here in Peachtree Corners. One, just because of the cost of living here, and then they're all off at school, but there are some in town, and if we can create something that creates sustainability, I'd love to see that. That takes
very excited that kicked off. My daughter home from college was very excited about that, and so she went yesterday and enjoyed the time, and so she's looking forward to what God's going to do through that, and just continuing to build her till she goes back to school. And so I think that's awesome. So just cool things like that, of doors that just continue to open and go, okay, where are the holes? And it's not that we don't see them. It's just, okay, now how do we build leadership to step into those roles and the right fit? I think that's one of the biggest keys that we have is we don't want to just take somebody and fill a spot. We want to take somebody whose gift mix and whose personality fits that ministry, and they feel called to that ministry as well. And I think that's one of the key things is, how do we continue to develop that? And how do we deploy them into service in different roles? And so that not only, a need is met, but a ministry is fulfilled, and these people are fulfilled in doing what they get to do because, it's a benefit to being able to serve. And when you're in the right sweet spot, it's like, man, this is awesome. I love what I get to do.
And when you're not constantly building in kind of what Ken Adams calls stocking the pond.
Yep.
Then when someone expresses a need, you're scrambling to try to find, and usually it is, you're filling a spot.
Yeah.
But when you have folks that you're pouring into and they're eventually chomping at the bits,
absolutely,
kind of a put me in
coach. Yep.
Then that's much more exciting to say, all right, we finally found an underserved area and we want to start this small group. And it doesn't have to be, A+ day one. It's you guys grow together, build community, learn as you go. And that's what it's about.
Correct.
If we waited until we were fully prepared, we'd never do it.
That's right.
And I think that's, part of people who are just in the church, they look at the ministers and, oh, I could never do that. Yeah. And it's like, no, you really could. You're giving us way too much credit.
1,000%.
But they don't see the years and years that we have built up to the call, the gifting, and just the reps.
Yeah. Yeah.
That
it makes a
lead to the
difference.
comfortableness.
It's huge. Yeah. And so just continue to say, okay, how do I serve? What can I do?
Absolutely.
And I may not think I can do that right now, but where can I start?
Yeah.
And so, if you got anybody that's out there thinking right now, hey, you know what? I'm feeling led to serve somewhere. Reach out. Talk to us.
Yeah. And so actions, steps would be, there are, you can go on our website and, find different ways to serve. We have some things that I think that they've built it into the homepage now, where if you want to get connected in serving, you can go there and find the different ministries that are where there's a need. Some that are just kind of ongoing, and then here are our current biggest needs. But we want to partner people with their gifting and their passion, because when you find that fit, you love it, you enjoy it, and the ministry benefits from it. So that would be a first step, is going to that. And then we have the gift assessment, online gift assessment. There's several tools.
Yeah.
But even just a conversation,
Absolutely.
Jay or myself, we would love to talk with you. As part of my job is to help you find a place to get connected to ministry. So that would be our action step for.
There it is.
There's ongoing stuff and special event stuff like VBS and what have you.
Yeah, right around the corner.
Yeah. So a lot of stuff we've covered. A lot of stuff.
Yeah, I love it.
Coming up. So, but
cool beans.
All right. Well, we want to thank you for joining us on this episode. We hope you have a great rest of your day. Thank you for all that you do in supporting and being a part of PCBC, and God bless. Well, that's it for this episode of On Second Thought. Thanks for hanging out with us. If you enjoyed the conversation, be sure to like, subscribe, and share this with a friend. If you have a question or thought, drop it in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you. If you'd like to find out more about your church on the corner, check us out at pcbchurch.org. We'll be back next week with more. So until then, have a great week and God bless.